Ruby-doo. Greetings, YouTube. I recently spent 10 days at the Grand Riviera Princess Resort in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and I put some footage together to help those who are thinking about booking this resort. This is my third trip to this resort because we absolutely love Princess. And to be clear, this is not a paid endorsement at all. It is my opinion. Also, this is not a complete review of the resort because we had limited time and we didn't have a need to experience everything the resort has to offer. So keep that in mind. If you have a specific question that I didn't address in this video, you can try to message me or comment in the section below, and I'll try to answer it, but I can't guarantee it. Anyway, let's get to the review. I give this resort a solid 4 stars because it's very nice, but it falls short of 5 stars based on personal service and a couple other things. It's just too big to give each guest personal attention, and there are some other areas that could be improved upon. I'll start with the property grounds. Everything on the ground that isn't a building is included in this category. The resort is very large. The distance from the lobby to the water at the beach is about a half a mile, so expect to do a lot of walking. There is a tram that runs the exterior perimeter, but the perimeter isn't as nice, and my wife and I just would rather walk. We enjoy the scenery. There are lots of sculptures along the way and lots of wildlife. The grounds are very beautiful and well maintained. The beach looks great to me. I like to walk on the beach in the morning, but after that I don't have much use for it. I don't do any snorkeling, and I don't do any swimming at the beach. There always seems to be plenty of lounge chairs, but if you're picky, I suggest you get up early and pick a chair and put your towel on it. Don't get mad at people who save chairs. There is a policy against it, but that is ignored by all the staff, and no one will take your stuff. That's why people do it. Beat them at their own game, just don't complain about it. This goes for the lounge chairs at the pool as well. This happens at every resort I've ever been to and every cruise ship I've ever been on. The grounds are worthy of a 5-star resort in my opinion. On to the facilities. The resort is about 10 years old and is starting to show its age, even though there are people working around the clock to maintain it. There are tiles that are coming up in the pools and some lower traffic areas that just don't get enough attention in my opinion. I'm being extremely picky about this because I've watched it degrade over the past few years. On the good side, there is beautiful marble floor everywhere. It's highly polished and it gets slippery when it's wet, so be careful. The buildings look great if you don't look too close. The roofs are all thatch and give the resort a nice, authentic, old-world look. There are fountains all over the place, and they provide a nice waterfall sound that fills the air in the lobby and in the room hallways. There are lots of pools to choose from, too. There's quiet pools with no swim-up bar. There's a couple of semi-quiet pools that have swim-up bars, and there's a single pool with a swim-up bar and daily entertainment. This pool can get very rowdy. It's full of the younger, drunken teenager, 20-something crowd. I have to admit, I'm a little older than that, but it's always fun to walk by and see what's going on. So, overall, I would describe the facilities as majestic and beautiful. I give it 4 stars. But trending downward, I would have given them 4.5 in previous trips. Maybe you noticed that I didn't even address rooms yet. Well, I wanted to give that a special category all to its own because you spend a lot of time in your room. I'm only familiar with the Junior Deluxe Suite. There are villas and swim-out suites and family suites and platinum options. I know nothing about those. In the Junior Deluxe Suite, you can have either a king bed or 2 queens. If you end up with 2 queens and you wanted a king, just push them together, or you can go up to the front desk and complain. You'll have a TV, a fridge, couch, chair, table, balcony. Some people complained about the internet access. We had free internet access in our room and it worked very well. The shower is awesome. There are double sinks with cool faucets, so there's plenty of counter space. My biggest complaint about the room is the other guests. They slam the door in the morning and it echoes through the hall. My wife asked this guy very nicely not to slam the door at 6 a.m. because people are still sleeping. He told her to F off with a proper English accent, except he gave her the full version of the word. Anyway, this is him by 9 p.m., and I wished I had a door to slam right next to his head. Instead, I only had this camcorder to record him being passed out despite the loud music. His wife went and got security, and I had to stop making fun of him. But that didn't stop me from posting him on YouTube. Some people complained about bugs in the room. We've never had any major trouble with bugs in the room. We had ants in the sink one day. I washed them down the sink and washed their path to confuse them, and the little buggers never came back. Newsflash, there are bugs in Mexico. Get over it. Some people complained about the beds as well. I didn't have any issue with the beds or the pillows. It wasn't a Hyatt or Doubletree bed, but it was nice. To me, the comfort level of the Junior Deluxe Suite was 4 stars. Okay, let's talk about the food. The breakfast buffet is available in 4 different restaurants. I normally love the omelets when I go on vacation, but it was hit and miss this time. One lady was using Pam cooking spray instead of oil on the grill. The omelets were terrible. They were breaking apart before she could even fold them in half. A different cook showed up about halfway through our stay, and the omelets were back to normal, thankfully. My wife and I like the bacon and the hash browns. I like the variety of breads, but my wife doesn't care for the bread much. There's lots of other things to choose from, like fresh fruit, even cold cuts for breakfast, and some stuff that might look like it would be more appropriate for lunch. So for the breakfast buffet, you should be able to find something that's pretty good. I give the breakfast buffet 3.5 stars, which is acceptable to me. Lunch at the buffets was bad. I mean flat out bad. My technique was to pick lots of very small portions of a wide variety of food. If I found something I liked, I would go get another plate with more of that. 2 stars is all I can give for the lunch at the buffets, and that is well below acceptable. Thankfully, there are other alternatives during lunch besides the buffet. You can get a hamburger or hot dog and fries at the beach. And there's a sports bar that serves a variety of sandwiches and French fries, and the fries were always fresh. The sandwiches were a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they were fantastic, other times you take a bite or two and just toss the rest. And one note, the sports bar is open 24 hours, so if you get a little snacky, go get some French fries. They're fantastic. I found that I got better service when I went directly to a waitress rather than waiting on her to come to the table. If you know the table number, which is on the napkin holder, go find the waitress and make your order right there. And another tip, tip her when she brings you the food. She will seek you out next time, and if it's very busy, you are going to get service very quickly. So I'll bump lunch to 3 stars, which is a little below standard for me, for offering a couple of additional options besides the buffets. Let's talk dinner for a moment. You got 2 different options for dinner. You can either go to the buffet, or you can go to a restaurant with a reservation. I'm going to start out with the buffet. I plated a variety of different options, and then went back for more of what I liked. Unlike lunch, I could always find something I really liked. Don't get me wrong, it's a buffet. There's a lot of things I didn't like, but I never walked away unhappy with dinner. So I'll give dinner buffet 3.5 stars for being acceptable. So now for the restaurants where you need a reservation. Platinum guests book all of their dinners on the first day of their trip. Guests like me, non-platinum, can only book 3 days in advance. On the first day that I arrived, almost all of the restaurants were booked. Certainly all the good times and the good restaurants were booked. 2 days out, most of the restaurants and times were booked. All of the good restaurants were booked. But 3 days out is when you have some options. Regardless, if you don't have a reservation, don't waste your time trying to walk into a restaurant because it looks like there are empty tables. They will not seat you without a reservation ticket. That's the rules. They will get fired for breaking the rules, so don't be mad at the workers. And this is one of the reasons why I think the Princess is not a 5-star resort. 5-star resorts don't jerk people around with dinner reservations. So if dinner is important to you and you're not platinum, every day you have to be at the dinner reservation place at 2 p.m. because that's when they start taking reservations for the 3 days out. And the savvy guests who aren't platinum are there booking them. But if dinner is your priority, you might consider platinum, just to make sure you get what you want. We ate at the grill twice, and once at the miso teppanyaki, which is the Japanese cooking show. It's fantastic. From what I understand, these are the 2 best restaurants to go to. We skipped the Italian, the Mexican, the fondue, the Swiss, all of that stuff we just skipped because hit and miss for us. We don't really care. So for the grill and the teppanyaki, I give them 4.5 stars. Now for a thing a little less tangible called service. Expectation management is extremely important here. This resort is huge. There are a limited number of workers. If you want something during a high demand time, be patient. Let me start with check-in. We have never had any troubles with check-in. In fact, we've had nothing but fantastic service every time we've checked in. Despite our experience, I've seen lots of bad comments from guests who were very unhappy with the desk service, and I think I know why. We arrive in a private taxi every time. There are many options to get to the resort from the airport. The cheapest option are these large tour buses. I've been on these buses to get to and from an excursion. They make multiple stops at multiple resorts. It's annoying as all get out. I've also noticed that the front desk gets extremely busy when one of these large tour buses drops a couple of dozen guests off at the same time. The front desk cannot give you the personal service that you want if you take one of these large tour buses. So my advice is to fork out money for a private taxi, which can be booked in advance. I finally did it. I booked a private minivan for $104, not including tip, with a maximum of 4 people, even though we needed it for 2 people. It was still cheaper than getting a taxi at the airport. And don't think for a moment that you're going to cut a deal with a taxi driver once you get to Cancun. You can't. It's like there is a taxi mafia running the show, and price gouging is the goal. Okay, on to the bar service. The bar service can be difficult at times. I found that tipping helped, but most of it is expected anymore. I tip when no one is around and try to make a social connection with the bartender in hopes that he will remember me when it's busy, but that philosophy didn't seem to work on this trip. Some people like to wave their dollar around like someone who's given a dog a treat. I just think it's disrespectful to not only the bartender, but to everyone around. Wait your turn. Now let's talk about some housekeeping. Enough of housekeeping. Let's talk some concierge. A man named Adolfo was at the concierge desk on multiple occasions that I had a question. He was absolutely fantastic. I brought many cameras with me to Mexico, but I forgot to pack the USB cable for the waterproof digital camera. He actually went shopping for us one evening after I told him my problem. And even though he didn't find the cable I needed, I know he actually spent time shopping because we went to Walmart the next day in Playa del Carmen and found the exact item he described as being the closest thing he could find. I bought it anyway because it was pretty dang close, and it still didn't work. He was extremely helpful with a few other questions we had as well. Anyone who complains about the concierge either didn't explain the problem properly or didn't talk to Adolfo. And just real quick, I want to mention the buffet wait staff. I have nothing to say about the buffet wait staff, be it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Shoulder shrug, audible grunt, blank stare. Good, talking to me? I got nothing for him. If you want something like a table or something to drink, get it yourself. It's the shining black eye for service, in my opinion. They don't have enough workers. The roving wait staff, be it at the pool or in the plaza, there are waitresses that will come around and take drink orders. The theme holds true. Tip them and they will come. Seriously, make friends with the servers if you want good service. Also, learn their names and ask politely. Por favor equals please. Gracias, you know that one, thank you. De nada, you're welcome. The look on their face when I say por favor tells me that they don't hear that near enough. It's one of the first words you learned as a kid because your mom was trying to teach you how to be polite. Say please, thank you, and you're welcome. Those few words will improve your experience and make the staff feel special. They love being mentioned in reviews as well, so if you plan on doing a review, write their names down so you can remember when you get home. It's tremendously important to them. And now I'll take a moment to recognize the people who made our trip special. Thank you very much. Overall, I give service 4 stars, and I think it's because I tip. Now, if you don't tip because you think it's all-inclusive, or it should be all-inclusive, that's fine. You'll still get service. It just won't be as good. On to the entertainment. There are way too many options for me to mention in this review. I'm just going to keep it to what we like to do. We spend most of our evenings in the plaza, which is on the first floor between the 2 lobbies. And when I say 2 lobbies, one side is Grand Riviera Princess, one side is Grand Riviera Sunset. We spend our time down here because we like the atmosphere. There's usually some kind of show going on or live music. Sometimes once a week, there's vendors that come out from Playa del Carmen and set up shops all across the plaza. It's very nice. If you plan on going into Playa, you can get whatever they're selling there down in Playa a little bit cheaper. And as I mentioned before, there's daily entertainment at the Rowdy Pool. There's also a nightclub that stays open really late. I am way too old to be walking into a nightclub full of 20-somethings, so I've never been in there. And this review is running pretty long. Before I wrap up, I want to mention the Sunset side again. The Sunset is on the southern end, and just south of the property is some construction going on. An entire resort is being constructed adjacent to the Sunset side, and there is a lot of construction going on, and it's a lot of noise. I've heard of people who booked Riviera and ended up on the Sunset side. Just make sure that when you book, Make a comment in there that you would like a quiet room, and you should be okay. So for the final grade, I will reiterate my overall assessment. I give the Princess a solid 4 stars. And if you follow my advice by handing out a few bucks and taking a private taxi, you'll probably have a happier experience. Now there's lots of stuff to do in Playa del Carmen. I am going to make a separate review on that as well, so check back at my channel if you'd like more information on that. As always, if you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe or else. Thanks for watching. Scooby-Doo out.